Welcome to our closing session of our pre-college programs slash Native Education Forum slash Emerging Scholars slash Caminos. Basically, we're back together as one big, huge community. Before we get started with everything, I do want to give you a heads up. Just remember, we are using normal Zoom right now. So please make sure you're staying muted unless you're asking a question when we open up the floor for questions. Just make sure it's respectful. And if you can, while we're actually presenting, turn your camera off just so we can make sure no one lags out or freezes out. So again, we love to see your beautiful faces. We definitely want to see your face before we end for today. But while we're going to the actual presentation, and especially when our guest speaker is about to speak to us, just if you can, have your camera off and be muted just to make sure nothing lags and everything kind of works a little bit better. But I promise we're going to interact with y'all a whole lot. So within the chat box, whether you want to use an effect to raise your hand to answer a question or something like that, definitely do so. Our last big time being together, being with the J team. I think we the most hype, littest crew here in our office because I'm always biased. But we're going to jump into everything and kind of get going forward and give you some important announcements toward the end. So we'll make sure we cover that. Again, it's kind of sad, but we're nowhere near done with you all. This little family and community vibes are going to keep going on throughout the year with some cool things we got going. So first up, we want to go ahead and kind of welcome in our last speaker, which is probably the biggest heavy hitter we got for today. And why we can't announced it as our keynote speaker. So sorry. So this guy, y'all, is probably one of the most powerful men I actually heard talk. That's being like so serious. He's done a great job with being real with people and speaking his mind to help change, but also doing it from an educational standpoint and really showing how you can kind of use your upbringing, the way you was grown and things you know how to fix it, but use it in a professional manner to kind of talk to people from all backgrounds to kind of integrate it all into one. The guy we're speaking to today is Dr. Thomas Easley. I met this man when I first entered into NC State. And at first I was like, who is this cool guy everyone's talking about who's really cool and real trendy and does hip hop and all that? And now I'm seeing him do great things, hit him as a speaker personally. And I'm like, wow, I get all of it. And it's great to kind of see full circle. They asked him to come speak to you all as well. So Dr. Thomas Easley got a bunch of different degrees all into one. But to sum it up really quickly, he went from forestry for a bachelor's degree, then got a master's degree. Someone muted me. They got a forestry, a master's in forest genetics, and then got a doctorate degree in more education. So blending a lot of different aspects of it. Right now, he currently serves as the Assistant Dean of Community and Inclusion at Yale University. So big time school, great school, all of that. But this time, I will turn the floor over to Dr. Thomas Easley. Can we please give him a big welcome within the chat box?
All right. Okay. Well, thank you. You can just do a mic check. Make sure that you all can hear me. Thank you. I appreciate the welcome. Thank you, all you beautiful folks. I appreciate that. Let me just look at Justin. Justin, can you hear me? Am I coming through clearly? Okay. Just okay. All right. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, okay. Appreciate you, sir. Okay. I appreciate it. Look, it felt good to be welcomed by the J team. It's good to be here with you all. I used to work at NC State. I worked at NC State for 13 years, and now I've been at Yale for 3.5. So before we get started, let me just kind of say something here because I want to honor your time. When I was your age, I know that sometimes you have assemblies. We had assemblies when I was your age, and they would bring people in front of you, and they would say, "This is a person that you should listen to." And I used to sometimes go, "For real, yeah? Seriously?" And sometimes the speakers really didn't have anything to say. I'm just like, that's an hour I can't get back. So here's what I want to do. I want to maybe ask you a couple of questions. I'll keep my eyes on the chat and then just see something, okay? Because Mr. Richardson just told you a little bit about me. So I just want to ask a couple of things. How many people here have ever wanted to get a job working in the outdoors or working, look at that, in the outdoors, isn't that backwards? Working outdoors. How many people have ever wanted to do that? You just want to do a hand raise or something. Okay. I see a few. Okay. All right. Okay. And I'll just wait for them as I'm looking. All right. Okay. Okay. So I see that they stopped. It didn't seem like it was more than 15. I know it's a number of people here, but okay, I see that. Okay. So I am a forester. Okay. I do a lot of work with trees and with landowners and also at one time with the government, because I used to work for the federal government. Okay, that's one. All right. Anybody here want to do something with regard to genetics, like playing around with genes, whether it's from people, animals, trees, plants, anything like that? Okay, I see me. Okay, all right, okay. But right there, just one me. Okay, all right, I see two. I see one of me, two genetic engineering. That's exactly okay. I want to, okay, chemistry. That's right. Yes, it does count. Chemistry does count because you have to be able to do biochem, veterinary medicine. You can apply genetics in vet med. So yes. Okay. Now here's the thing. As these are coming in, I appreciate this. You all really are an amazing group. I can tell that all already. But when I said the first one, outdoors, that was like people got that one. Okay, when I said genetics, let me think about that a little bit. All right, okay. Now, how many people here want to be an artist? Like you want to just like make music, make art, make clothes, give that, give that to the world. How many people want to be an artist? Okay. All right, here we go. See, all right, okay. See, all right, see, more coming in. And more of the artists technically came in quicker than the first one. But that's all right. That's good. That's technically part of maybe in my free time. Okay, that's maybe in my free time. All right, okay. So here we go. Last question. It's the last question, and then I'll get into my presentation. And thank you all so much for even answering me and being on today. How many of you have done this or would like to basically make $5,000 in 30 minutes? Be able to make $5,000 in 30 minutes? Me. I need that. Yes, me. I will absolutely me, everybody. Okay. Okay, me. Okay, maybe that's everyone. All right. Okay. Okay, so now that I got everyone, and I know I had your attention, so I don't mean it like that. But now that I feel like I kind of have your attention, I would say that if anything that I can tell you now, even though all those questions that I asked you, okay, I can also tell you how to do that. Okay, I can tell you how to do it, and I can tell you how to get engaged with it. Okay, Justin told you that I basically have 3 degrees. I have a degree in forestry, I have a degree in genetics, and my doctorate is in adult education that I got from NC State. I felt like it was good to have a doctorate in the one discipline that leads to every discipline, which is education. My mom is a civil rights activist, and my father. My mom was an educator, so I turned out to be like my mom. She taught 8th grade, 4th grade, 2nd grade. I went into college and university settings. Okay, now I got there because I went into forestry. Okay, I went into forestry. Here I am, a Black man. Okay, who also, and I can let you all know this as I dig deeper into my history, because the other thing that is in my blood is I also do have indigenous nations in my blood. My grandfather on my mother's side was actually Seminole, and I did not know that until right before he passed. And my grandfather on my father's side was mixed, but we looking in his linings, Poarch Creek as well as Choctaw. So coming from South Carolina, okay, and nations there over to Tennessee, that's my dad's side. My mom's side from Florida coming up to Alabama. So I have all of this in my blood, right? And I have all of this in me, and I'm still learning more of my history. So that's why I don't come out and say things, a certain way, because I understand that there's still so much to know about that. But I'm proud to say that, because that means that that I'm richer inside of me because I have these other things going on inside me. And as a diversity professional, that's what I do at Yale. So I went from an HBCU, historical Black university, to an Ivy League institution. All right. And here's the funny thing. I did it partly by rapping. And I've been rapping since I was 15. I'm 42 now. I've only been rapping and making music professionally, though, for the last 13 years, since 2008. And I didn't start doing that until I came to the state of North Carolina. And just in case if you want to know, like, do I do this? Because I have a label now, and I work with 5 different artists, and we do a lot of cool things together. But it started with me. So I consider myself to be a leader of the pack. What is a leader? You think it's you? I know it's me. Not something that I expected to be. To be real, you must have integrity. Now look through history, her story too. James Orange is the leader that gave us the proof. for Hampton Asada, Amiri Baraka, the kids that are DACA, and Big Mamas too. A Warner Big Papa, Devil Talk to leaders that look like me. Hate your thugging and true that privacy. Scared of messiahs to speak mightily, speak truth to power, now they silent sing. Send pawns to infiltrate our movements, then attack us. That's why I stay in shape, be ready to dip or fight. That is my practice. I speak with facts. They say that I'm cussing. I speak with passion. They hiding in the. Now let's do something. Get their stomachs bubbling. Gather black folk. Now I started something. What else we need to do? Get brown and Asians and poor whites too. Instead of hating each other, let's join indigenous and make these covenant rules that work for each nation, a true test of patience. Can't leave it alone, that I always take maintenance, attention, sincerity, excuses like we can't do it. You liars, you can just save it. Geniuses all around, God love is scattered. Sounds of wealth and poor health, you getting fatter. Kings, queens everywhere, not popularity, leadership, that is what matters. So in order for me to do what I do, I have to be good at it. And I do think that I am good at it. And what I'm passionate about is making good music, making music that can touch people, making music that educates people, making music that boost people's esteem, okay? And the people on my label, we do the same thing. But if you notice, when I started my talk talking about education. I didn't start my talk talking about music. Now, don't get me wrong, I love music. Music is my passion. And I'm fortunate that I can say I make money now off of my passion. But I am proud to say that I am an educated artist, okay? Or I'm an artist that is educated. The fact that I've been able to go to school, get degrees. See, for me, education was first. I put education first. There's nothing wrong with putting art first, okay? Because to me, art and science go hand in hand. Really, they're the same thing. Because I am a scientist as well, and I'm a social scientist, and I'm an artist. But I went to school first. And while I went to school, I went to a historical Black university. I went to a school where I saw a majority of people that looked like me that majored in nothing like me. So I majored in forestry, okay? So one tip that I want to say is, because how can I put this? I went to an HBCU and I didn't do all of the popular things, like I didn't join every group, didn't join frats or anything like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Do it. My sister did, other people in my family have, and it's good because it gives community. So I respect that. But what I did do was I did something that many people who look like me didn't do. I went and majored in something that I didn't know about. I majored in forestry. Now, I majored in forestry because I fell in love with genetics, okay? And I am good at math and science. So I own the fact that I'm a nerd. I appreciate it, okay? You can talk to me about any comic book, any current cartoons usually, but you can also talk to me about math and science. And so I go into this field of forestry. And while I'm in this discipline, the thing that I notice is while there are not a lot of people that look like me, it seems like there's a lot of opportunity for people that look like me, or there just seems to be a lot of opportunity. And I started to take advantage of it. But here's the thing. Many places I've been, and I hope that none of you have to go through this, or if you do, you understand that you can also go through it. Many places I went, I was the only person of color there. When I went to the University of Georgia as an exchange student, I was the only person of color in the school. Seriously, the only one. Faculty, student, even staff, even cleaning staff, I was the only one. When I went to Iowa State, I was the only person of color in my department when I was getting my master's degree. When I lived in Montana, because see, after I graduated, I worked for the Forest Service, so I worked for the US government. I was in Montana, the only Black person in the county. In the county. It's like, whoa, okay, where am I gonna get my haircut? But I had longer hair then. So I've had these experiences where I've either been the only one, and even now in 2021, I go places where still not a lot of people that look like myself or the J team, which means people that don't look like me and a lot of people that are on this call today, obviously. Okay. But I still go in, I still show up, I still handle my business because I don't look at certain spaces like they're spaces that I can't go into. I'm like, man, please, I'm probably the smartest person in the room. I do belong in there. It's not my fault that you don't know that greatness is standing in front of you, but I had to get to that point. It took me time. So like I said to you, when I mentioned that I started with education, I'm glad that I focused on my education because I went and I became a forester, okay, and became good at it. I became a geneticist, became great at it, got my doctorate in education. And I'm thankful for NC State because they gave me my shot. I've worked in the College of Natural Resources for 13 years, got my doctorate while I was there. So while I value education, let me tell you something else that I value. I value people. I value people. To have an education is one thing. It takes good relationships to get you where you need to be. So the other thing that is good is that I left NC State, but I didn't leave NC State in bad standing. I could come back to NC State now. If I couldn't, they wouldn't have brought me back to speak to you. You hear what I'm saying? They wouldn't have brought me back to speak to you. So that means that I left this place, but I didn't burn the bridge. So that's the next thing. You never know if you might have to come back across a bridge. So even if things aren't going great or going good, if you can, there's a big if, quotes around if you can, leave a place, if you can, better than the way that you came, because you never know if you're going to need it again. Now, why is that? Because I love hip hop. I worked in forestry. I didn't learn diversity until I came to NC State. And that's what the world knows me as now. That's what Yale brought me there to be. That's why I'm an assistant dean at Yale, being a diversity professional who majors and who helps people understand that we have to be communal with each other and include each other. It's not easy. Now, even though I can tell you what I do musically, because I make music, I play the trombone, I play the piano, and I write rhymes, I can freestyle in front of you right now. Now I have a label. But this diversity business is what's making me untouchable. I'm like a fish in water with this diversity, because I do something that many other diversity professionals can't do. I tell people how to make your organization diverse. Coming from Alabama, you remember how I said I'm from Alabama? My mom and dad are civil rights activists. My uncle, James Orange, who I mentioned in that round that I rapped to you, he was the first field lieutenant appointed in the civil rights movement by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the first. So I come from a family that was entrenched in the movement that made it so that all of us could be employed where we are right now and go to school where we are right now. I'm a part of a family that made it so that that is so. But that also means I come from a people, okay, who struggled and also made it so that I could be here. That's why I had to mention the really important indigenous part of my blood, because this land was rich before people came here. This land was rich with people. They call it Turtle Island, to be honest with you. And as I'm learning more and more about that, that is what I bring into my work. And that's what I bring into my diversity experiences. I do not shut myself down. I don't minimize myself. As a matter of fact, I don't even call myself a minority. Why? Because I look like too many people around the daggone world. I'm the majority. So it's time for you to listen to me. And I know that because I understand that what our people understood and knew, that's what people need now. So remember when I said, you want to know how to make $5,000 in 30 minutes? I'll tell you how you do it. First thing is, you got to have something that people want. You got to have something that they want, okay? Got to have something that they want. Now, I'm not talking drugs, but people have done that. I'm not talking liquor. People have done that too. And I'm not even talking religion, because people do that. But I am talking something that people need. Oh, I just went from want to need. See that? Because a lot of times what people want, they can get it from other places. But when they get to something that they need, it gets a little bit more smaller where they can get it from. Then not only do they need something, you need to give them something that they actually desire. Because if you give them something that they need and want, they can get it from other people. But if they desire it from you, then they come to you. Okay? And then make sure that is tangible. See, that's the thing about passion. A lot of times passion isn't tangible. Passion can lead to you making something tangible. Remember, I said I started with education. What does the world need? Now, don't get me wrong. I make music. I support people who make music. I support artists. I have a videographer who signed to the label now. I have an artist who does all of our album covers. I have in-house producers. I have all of that. That entertains people. But that diversity business that I have, that's what's changing organizations. And I only have a couple of people working with me there, because that requires another kind of greatness. People who know how to work with people. People who understand that life isn't meant for you to be living in convenience all of the time. People who understand that everybody's not going to make you feel good all of the time. People not going to speak the way that you want them to speak. See, I need those people working for me, because that's the real world. So when I do my diversity work, I go into places that some people are afraid to go into because they can't handle people saying offensive things. I go in there and I'm like, let me see if we can help turn this ship around. Let me see. I go in places where I have to sometimes use my masculinity. I'm not a violent person, but it's to let people know, hey, sometimes some of y'all talk big like you're willing to do what other people actually have done before. If we need to communicate, let's communicate. And then the other thing is you have to become the person that people want all of the time. So that means you can't scare people all the time. You can't offend people, but you don't have to be phony. And the other thing that I want to say is you have to be good at what you do. You have to be able to do it at the call of a whistle. And when you have that, that's when people know that they can always come to you because you are an expert. Now, here's the thing about being an expert. And as I say this, I'm going to bring it to a close. The thing about being an expert is you have to be humble and understand that you always have to stay learning. So it means being a lifelong learner. The thing about being a person who speaks like me is I have to have something that people want to hear. That's why I set myself up first. Let me establish this with you first. And I didn't even use hip hop to do it. I did it with the other question. Because now when people bring me to speak, that's what they get. And in case people question, why are you charging that? I tell them, you're not charging for what I'm doing right now. You're charging for everything I went through to get me here. That's what you're paying for. Because that's what's informing me how I talk to you now, is the experience that I have. So don't ever discount your experience. If you're a student that's like, I want to go to an HBCU, I want to go to an HSI, that's a Hispanic serving institution, even though I don't use the first term, but HSI, or I want to go to a tribal institution or tribal college. And some people use other words. I want to go to a women's institution. The thing is, don't ever discredit your journey. Don't ever discredit your journey. Sometimes people are going to say, you didn't earn it. Why are you here? When I taught classes at NC State, I had students who looked like you. People used to always challenge them and say, it's because of affirmative action that you use. So I would teach them in my class, let me teach you how to make the ignorant look dumber. Let's talk about affirmative action and who benefits from it. Let's teach them the history, which means you need to know the history. And then when they say something to you, be the smartest person in the space. And you can choose to ignore their ignorant tale, or you can address it by saying, well, affirmative action has actually benefited more white women than it has people of color. And I'm here, and if I have a scholarship, I'm here because I earned it, because I understand that the school that I may have come from or the community that I come from, it wasn't easy for us to get in here, which means I earned my way in here probably more than you, because I had more hurdles to climb. And I climbed them, and I made it. So this is why I don't have the big head about anything that I do. I want to say thank you for listening to me, because what I just did, I go into companies and do that. I go into classrooms and do that. I go into organizations and do that. I was a former campus pastor. I pastored a church there on campus before. I go into churches and do that, which means I go into families and do that. And why do I do it? Because it's so important to me, because there are too many people who are living like this. Here's my minority report about what's going on with the poor. No clean water, got liquor stores. No banks, good housing, can't afford. Got drugs, got guns, got more. Dope boys, no books, gym floors. Dead pool, can't swim, lead in my pores. Contaminated, mentally challenged, I'm sore. Getting scholarships while my body earns scores. I want to use my mind and explore. But cricket scared cops stand at my door. Say I resemble this dude that shot four. But I don't own a gun, but I am at war. Praying about who came after the 44th. President evidence there won't be no more. Left folk for a while, not expecting support. So as I close, that's what many people that look like us and don't look like us are going through. This isn't a color thing. This isn't a race thing. This is a human thing. That's what matters to me. I want to make the world better for people before I leave this world. I want to die with a bigger capacity of love than I was born with. It's not easy. It's not always pleasant, but I position myself and posture myself to put beauty in the world every day as much as I can, because I know that it is a sick world. In some ways, it's a dying world, but it's a beautiful world because we're here. And the world has made it so that we could be here. So as a forester, I'm telling you, care for the planet, because the planet is already cared for you. We owe the planet. We owe the planet. Pay attention to how you're recycling, eating, drinking, throwing away trash, not throwing away trash, what you buy. I'm serious. This planet needs us to behave differently. Next thing, be careful how you treat each other. If you don't like it, don't do it to other people. But don't judge people by your standards. Judge them by their standards. Get to know them. And remember, you're amazing. So that means you got to let people get to know you. It's not always easy. And I can't guarantee safety all of the time. But I promise you, if you put humanity first, it's going to be different. And last but not least, no one owes you anything. You owe the world everything. And we owe each other everything. This is what I mean when I say no one owes you anything. I haven't determined how you got to where you are. So I don't owe you. You owe yourself that one. But from this point on, I have to be accountable to you so that I don't mess up my image in case what I said touches you. See? So now I owe you to be accountable. I got to behave. I got to be good. I got to be chill as best as I can. So that's why I named the song "What Is a Leader?" because that's what leaders do. I don't want anybody to follow me. I just don't want to lead anybody down a bad path. So I challenge you to do the same thing. So let's save the planet. Maybe we can save each other. Hey, maybe you all have a brighter future than I had and than I have now at my age when you get to my age. So y'all take care of each other. That's all. I'm done. Peace.
Appreciate Dr. Easley. And we got a little bit of time to answer any kind of questions. Real quick, of course, we'll get that thank you. A lot of students in the chat box was like, man, I need him as a mentor, a role model. And it's like, I could listen to him all day. They've been going crazy for it. A lot of the thank yous are already coming in. Really quick, students, we can spend some time to answer any kind of questions if y'all have any. So if you have any questions, like to ask it, you can do two things. Of course, use a little raise. Oh, perfect. Use raise hand effect or throw it in the chat. We'll try our best to do it much as possible. One of our students already has a hand raised, so you can go ahead and ask your question and unmute yourself.
The email. Okay, because I have two businesses, everyone, and so you can reach out to me if you want to learn more about diversity. That's the first one. If you're interested in talking about music, okay, you can hit me up at this one. That's the second one. Both have the same number because I'm the head of them all, so you can hit me up here. Okay, so here go the final thoughts because someone put a really strong question in there. I don't want to assume, but please tell me if I'm saying your name right. Is it Takia? Okay, I'm asking. Ma'am, say it again.
It's Takaya.
Takaya, I'm so sorry. Now, but I do want to say something to you, Takaya, why I said that, because my sister spells it similar, but that's how she pronounces it. So I apologize, Takaya, for mispronouncing your name. But saying people's names, leader, is one of the ways to connect with people. So I'm gonna ask this question and that's my final comment. As a Black man with such a huge personality, thanks. How did you keep yourself original instead of conforming into a more digestible version of yourself to please others? Takaya, you make sure you keep talking, speaking, and writing. You hear me? And anyone else? That's an amazing question. And you all, I'll close it out by this. I learned at an early age to be myself. I got in trouble when I was y'all age. When I was in high school, I tried to be I tried to be down in the group, and I got in trouble and got expelled from school. Almost had to go to juvie and had to go to an alternative school. I was 15 years old. My grandmother had died, and that was one of the reasons why I was so lost and gone, is because I was trying to fill that void. So I was out doing a lot of things. And here's what's crazy: I wasn't drinking or doing drugs. It wasn't until after I got in trouble that's when I started doing that. I stopped, of course. But I learned early to not try to be like other people. So that's why when I got to college, that's why I didn't join things. I was like, nah, man, I'm not gonna do that. That's not me. So that's where how I learned to stay original. The big personality, though, comes from being connected to people. And that's why I understood that, look, no one makes it on their own. And even though I know a lot, I am a smart person, but I don't know what all, and I never will. And so I thought I was going to be this self-reliant person. That's how I was when I got to college. I was like, yeah, I do my own thing. I challenged everything that I didn't like. Now I would rather make people feel better than they felt when they came in first contact with me. I've learned that, you can attract a lot of people with honey and sugar, and you can tick a lot of people off with vinegar. But here's the thing: vinegar helps keep things clean. So I give you a mix. I give a sandwich. You will get a little bit of vinegar because a lot of times that's where the truth is. But you will always get more of the honey because that's where the love usually sits and people can take it more. So I am on YouTube. I put my YouTube channel here too. I'm so sorry. And I'm not trying to take over, Justin. Just doing that. And so that's how I do it. Everybody stay true to yourself. You wouldn't be here if you weren't amazing. That's the thing. But one last thing, and Justin, please, I hope, I say this, don't forget your ancestors. I am not here alone. Even though I said what I said in Montana, I was never alone. I was never alone. My grandmother was always with me, just in a different form. My great-grandmother, great-grandfathers, they were with me. And that's why I can stand like this now in front of you, because they're in me holding me up. And when I transition, I'll be doing the same thing to other people. I have a number of students who are my family. I don't have any biological children, but I have a bunch of students. And that through them, I will live forever. So through me, my ancestors live forever. So don't discredit them and don't disrespect them. That's how I do it. Because without them, I wouldn't be here. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much again, Dr. Easley. I love hearing you speak. I think the students enjoyed it clearly too. So thank you so much for that. And for the students, for the remainder of the time, we do want to transition a little bit more to a presentation standpoint with some quick reminders and telling you once more, even though this is called the closing session, we're nowhere near done. We're really just beginning everything and kick it off into it as well. So bear with us one quick second. Jackie's going to go through and share her screen again, and then we'll go ahead and continue started. Dr. Easley, thank you again once more. And you see all the thank yous coming in. Awesome, man. I really do appreciate it.
God bless. Y'all take care.
And then Jackie, are you good? Perfect. And then for the part of it, we're going to turn over to Jocelyn first. So Jocelyn, whenever you're ready, we can go ahead and continue with good vibes, keep everything going and flowing.
Yeah, it's hard to follow up after Dr. Easley, but we just want to give a little bit of information as we're closing out these next 2 weeks, these last 2 weeks. Want to give a recap and talk a little bit about some of the things that we have learned over the last 2 weeks. So we've given you a lot of information as far as college preparation, and also you've heard from many different speakers. So we heard from NC State faculty like Dr. Witherspoon, Dr. Wolfram, and also Dr. Gonzalez. But also we had a lot of different alumni that came and talked to us too from NC State. And we've just gotten to hear from a lot of really great people and hear their stories and where they came from, and from, starting from when they were in positions like you all, and seeing where they are today and the work that they're doing has been really inspirational. And all of that is to say that you all have the power to do that too. You're able to do amazing things because we all start from the bottom. And so we hope that these last 2 weeks have been inspirational for you all. And then we also want to remind you that you have a community. The J team is a part of your community now, and use your community to your advantage, and use them as a resource throughout the rest of your life. But we definitely wanted to convey that over the last 2 weeks that you can't do it all alone, and so we want you to be able to use your community moving forward. And then also wanted to just let you all know that you should be on the lookout for financial aid. So if you were at the parent session last night, we did have some information for your parents regarding the FAFSA and other opportunities for financial aid. So for those of you, especially if you're a rising senior, be sure to complete the FAFSA. That's the free application for federal student aid, and it does become available October 1st of your senior year. So for those of you that are rising seniors, that'll open up in just a couple of months, and we definitely recommend doing that because that's a great way to get some free money to help you pay for college. And then also scholarship applications. So make sure that you're doing scholarships throughout the year because it's not just a one-time thing. Different scholarships have different deadlines, and so make sure that you're making sure that you're looking at what those deadlines are so that you do them in advance, and are taking advantage of all of the free money that's out there, because there are scholarships out there. And as some of our speakers mentioned, they took advantage of those scholarships to help them get through college. And so we definitely want you to be able to take advantage of those opportunities as well. And then, like I said, it does take a village. Even us, the J team, we used our community throughout these last 2 weeks. We could not do it on our own. It takes multiple people to get to where we are, and that's same for you all too. So we do want to say thank you to everyone that was a part of making these last 2 weeks happen, these summer programs happen. So our admissions office, all of our staff members that kind of helped with the mock application review, and every the other sessions that we had throughout these last 2 weeks. We also are program coordinators, so J team. We all are, so happy that we were a part of this, and we're happy to, be able to get to work with students like you all. And then also our guest speakers and alumni, everybody that, kind of spoke to each of us during these sessions. We couldn't have done it without them. And then especially to you all, the students. We could not have done it without you, without your participation in every single session. So we want to thank you for being here every day for the last 2 weeks, joining in all the sessions and asking really awesome questions, and just engaging with each of our speakers. So yeah, we really appreciate it. And then also wanted to tell you that your work isn't done. This is just the beginning, as some of our speakers have said. So there is more to be done, and we're not done talking to y'all. We're going to keep reaching out to you in the next couple of months, as y'all are also in the process of applying to college and everything. This is not the last that you're going to hear from us. And so we're going to keep reaching out to y'all. We're going to provide some information with a Planning for College guide. We'll be sending that out to y'all and other free preparation tools. But we did also want to just remind you of the 5 A's of college prep. And so you can see those listed there. The first one is going to be atmosphere. And so as far as atmosphere, this is definitely something to consider as you're considering colleges. Think about the location. If you're able to visit, whether it's virtually or in person, definitely go out of your way to do so, because you can get a really good feel for a college when you do visit the school. And a lot of schools, if you're not able to go in person, a lot of them are offering virtual tours. And so that's a great way to just kind of get a better, I guess, understanding of the atmosphere on campus. And also think about how far is it from home? How big is the campus? Is it going to be a good fit for you? And those are all things that you can kind of get a feel for if you visit in person or even virtually. The next A is going to be attitude. And so a lot of the process is also about your attitude. So, and the work that you're going to put in, because you all have to actually put in the effort of applying to colleges and making this happen and advocating for yourself, as we talked about this week. And so make sure that you just don't give up. Apply to all of the colleges that you're interested in. If you're able to, put in the effort and make sure that you start early. Don't procrastinate. Make sure you look and see when the deadlines are so that you're getting everything done that you need to. Then academics is the next A. And so that, of course, is going to be your academics in school right now. Make sure that you're keeping up with your grades, you're taking those rigorous courses that you can, but also think about the academics that are offered at the different colleges you're applying to. So make sure that they're offering the programs that you're interested in so that it's a good fit. So make sure that if you're interested in engineering, that you're applying to the school that actually offers engineering or nursing or whatever the program it is that you're interested in. So making sure that they actually have what you're interested in. And then activities, of course, we've talked a lot about this over the last 2 weeks as well. But what are you involved in? What are you spending your time in? And how can you talk about that within your application? And how can you kind of connect it to the world and just connecting to people? How does that, apply? I think some of the students in ESA, we talked about this yesterday with a student who had interest in playing piano, and they also made connections to how they see the world through that. And so just kind of pay attention to your activities and how that really also kind of talks about your characteristics as well. And then lastly, admissions. So you all are going to be applying to these colleges. Make sure you're looking at the deadlines. Make sure that you're also actually completing the applications. You're checking to see that you've submitted all required documents and that you're really keeping up with those applications and doing everything that's on your part. And then hopefully you'll get an admission at a university or a college or wherever you end up and kind of get to just move on with your, I guess, career at that point. But I think that's all I have. So I guess just don't give up and we are here for you. Reach out to us if you need anything. And yeah, use your community.
And like Jocelyn said, we're just getting started. I got some more events coming in for you. Just to give you a heads up, some things we are planning and you'll see information about in the fall and the spring. One of these for open house and doing a special celebration, some kind of reunion event for all of us to gather back again, have a good time for it. test prep such as ACT prep, especially if schools start in North Carolina, especially North Carolina really start requiring test scores again, all of that. So some of the ideas of events we'll have, and we'll make sure we email it to you all. So definitely be on the lookout for our emails. Things we're going to send out to you. It's all going to be beneficial information as we continue going everything out. Jackie, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So one thing, of course, we would talk about on campus, I mean, during this week a whole lot, that a lot of you had questions about was being a person of color, PWI, or NC State. And of course, we share information as best as we can. We try to speak very broadly, but of course, we got to speak from the institution that we know about. So NC State, of course, we love what we do. I always say we do great things. We always can get better. And do want to highlight some centers or places you may hear about if you decide to come to NC State, and some organizations and centers to think about getting involved in as far as some of our campus community centers here in the university. So the first one you'll probably hear from is Multicultural Student Affairs. So their goal is really to implement a safe space for all unrepresented students on campus to make sure they know they belong here, they're here for a reason, and they have an equal seat just like every other student do on our campus. They also host the Multicultural Scholar Symposium coming in for incoming students in this right before school starts. So like early August, they usually do a symposium to let students of color come to campus, meet other students on campus already, know their way around the college campus, learn different ins and outs for it, and go ahead and begin networking right before classes start. So definitely be on the lookout for that. The next one will be the African American Culture Center. So what they do is promote awareness and appreciation for African American and African descent experiences through activities and events. So they do a ton of events throughout the whole year. Another thing you can get involved in. And a cool thing about the African American Cultural Center is that they have their own special library and kind of hangout spot for any student, no matter who you identify as, right within their center if you choose to come to it. The next one will be the GLBT Center. So they're located right within the Italian Student Union. So again, serve students of all sexual orientation, gender identities, and gender expressions, no matter what. They also host a different wide variety of workshops throughout our campus for faculty and staff members. So they show how you can be an ally and also support all of these students as well. And if you come into campus or need a safe space or want to make sure you're getting all your needs taken care of, they're a great center for this. And then the last one would be the Women's Center. So it's all located within the Italian Student Union as well. And it's to build and create a community of authentic and engaged allies and leaders to pursue gender equality and social justice. So a really good thing. They do a ton of different workshops throughout the year as well. All the centers do work together with the ultimate goal, of course, is making sure equity is at the key and foremost. Everyone feels welcome. Everyone's treated fairly and all that all into one. So again, these are some campus community centers we have here at the university. And if you ever come down, definitely feel free to check them out or reach out to them if you want to know about any of their services or if you need help with anything. They're a great point of contact as well as we are. Some of you all asked for our email address once again. At the very end of this, we will drop it in there for you also. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Jackie real quick for some of the last little information for you all.
Thanks, Justin. We just wanted to leave you all with some small quotes that you all can use and move forward with in order to remember and really motivate you, because we talked a lot about just finding that source of motivation and finding that within other people, of course, but also within yourself. And so remembering these quotes of, if it is to be, it is up to me. And so really what this means is that really you and your determination will move you forward. It's really important for you to believe in yourself in order to achieve your goals and achieve your dreams. And we are here to just tell you and let you know that we are believing in you and we are behind you. We're in your corner wholeheartedly. We are rooting for you. And in order for you to be able to move forward with that, we're going to need you to believe in yourself too. You deserve all of the opportunities that you are awarded. And we are so happy that you decided to join this program and that you're here with us, because this is such an important step in order to move forward and to be able to achieve those goals. So definitely don't stop believing yourself. We believe in you so, so much. And so hopefully you're able to believe and have that feeling for yourself as well. And finally, in order to really, really emphasize that, this other quote that we have, aerodynamically, the bumblebee shouldn't be able to fly, but the bumblebee doesn't know that. And so it goes on anyways. So no matter the haters, no matter anybody that is telling you that things shouldn't be able to happen or anything like that, like, y'all, don't listen to them. Like, you are the only source of motivation and you are the only like sense of just push that you need in order to move forward. Justin made me say haters, and so I had to throw that in there. But yes, y'all, like, please remember that no matter what anybody says, no matter anything, like, you believing in yourself is the only sense of motivation that you need. And that's something that we touched on in ESA. Like that's what y'all, that's why we had those discussion questions about your favorite thing about yourself and what is a positive thing that you've heard about your future that other people have said about your future, because we want you to have those things at the forefront. We want you to remember that as you're moving forward. Don't listen to the negatives that anybody has to say, and hopefully you don't have any negatives to reflect back on. Only take those positives and allow that to push you forward. And that's it.
And so for everyone, of course, it's our contact information. We're not going to end it just yet, but you can see if you want to connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. It is up there. Information for a tour is there as well. We are offering on-campus tours. It's just more of a independent tour in a sense. Yourself got it. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Where you can a little bit walk by yourself. We have different ambassadors there. And you can see all of our email addresses and contact information in this box.